What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Scrubbed Allowed podcast brought to you by Manscaped.com. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below the waist grooming and hygiene, and your balls will thank you. So head over to Manscaped.com and enter the promo code No Scrubs at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. My cat has really been going nuts, so hopefully I can get through a recording with him not going crazy, because this is now the third try at this thing. So hopefully he chills and we can get through this with limited appearances from him. So what is there to talk about? We're still in quarantine. Seal is not here. He was busy working tonight and in quarantine, and that's pretty scary, I know, but make sure you tip your food service people because they need it. They are working. They are essential to us because we like to eat. So he's not here. If he shows up later, maybe I'll let him jump in and talk a little bit about the NFL draft. So the NFL draft was here, and I'm going to talk a bit about that. And then I'll just kind of talk to you guys about what I've been doing during quarantine to keep up with sports, because sports is what we do here. Sports is what this podcast is about, and sports aren't going right now. So I will talk to you guys about what I've been doing, what I've been watching, what I've been playing on NBA. Not tell you, but you get it. So sports isn't happening, but the NFL draft decided to happen. And with it being virtual, we were kind of scared that it was going to be hectic and crazy and have some technical difficulties. Well, that was not the case. So that's really cool. And what it actually did is it stopped teams from talking to one another. There was the least amount of trades ever, I believe, 14 trades through the entire draft, which is a new record. So whether it be this draft board or just teams not being able to communicate with each other as easily, there weren't a lot of trades. Now, I hadn't heard anything of teams trying to trade and it falling through. I know that the Jags were trying to trade up in the first round, and that didn't work out. But I don't think it had anything to do with the technical difficulties of the virtual draft. So me and Sil already did a preview podcast, so we're not going to go into any of the players there that we dug into. But we also, on top of that, did a YouTube live for the first round of the draft, and that is up on YouTube. It was recorded live. It was a little slow. Teams have 10 minutes to pick, and we didn't have videos and things to show because we are not copyrighted by the NFL. We didn't get the express written consent. So we just were shooting the breeze while we were waiting for them to make picks, talking to some people that were chatting with us, the listeners and viewers like you guys. So it could be a little slow to watch in replay form, but if you needed to see and hear us talk about a particular person, that's where you're going to do it. But I will break down a few of the things that I saw. And if you did watch, you saw me react strongly when Andrew Thomas went to the Giants at pick number 4. It wasn't necessarily because Andrew Thomas went. It was because, like the person, Andrew Thomas, it was because an offensive lineman went. And I thought at that point, I was not ready for offensive linemen to start rolling off the board. We knew that there were 4 great ones. There was Andrew Thomas, there was Jedrick Wills Jr., there was Mekhi Becton, and there was Tristan Wirfs. And when one went off the board that early, I was like, oh no, that's pretty scary, because I knew of some teams that wanted and needed offensive linemen. So that was a little scary, but then it settled in. Arizona didn't take one, which was great. Carolina didn't take one, which was great. And we were just watching. Well, then Jedrick Wills and Mekhi Becton come off back-to-back to the Browns and the Jets at 10 and 11, and we were sitting there at 14, and I was really scared that Wirfs wasn't going to be there, and it seems to me, and it played out that way, that Jason Licht, our GM, was also a little concerned about that, because he traded up one spot from 14 to 13, so he wanted to make sure that we could get that offensive tackle. We ended up getting Tristan Wirfs from Iowa. I couldn't be happier. Like I said, it wasn't because Andrew Thomas was the guy that got drafted. It's just because I was scared of the offensive lineman coming out. So if you were watching and you saw my reaction, I was pretty upset. But then once Wirfs came around, I was happy again. So out of that, we saw, aside from that, in the first round, we saw Jerry Jeudy really fall. He was the third wide receiver taken behind, not the third, the second one, behind Henry Ruggs. Ruggs went first to, what? Yeah, sorry, I'm confusing myself. But yeah, Ruggs went 12th to the Raiders, and he was the first receiver taken, and he was expected to be the third, maybe fourth receiver taken. So Jerry Jeudy got to drop all the way to the Broncos, and that's huge. The Broncos should be very happy with that. I think they're going to have just an amazing, amazing person there. Then the Jags were kind of throwing everybody for a loop. They went a lot off of what Seal said. He thought CJ Henderson would go first, and then he did. But then outside of that, they started drafting a little bit differently than Seal thought they would. And that started with K'Lavon Chaisson. But when you look at the videos, and Seal has since looked, and I wish he could talk to you guys about this, but when you look at the videos, he turned out to be really good pick. And I think he's going to be fine, especially if they lose Yannick Ngakoue. Chaisson might have to get in there a lot more than he wanted. So I know that Seal wanted Justin Jefferson, wanted a receiver. He didn't have to get it there. That was fine. But then, of course, the big kind of question mark from the first round, the surprise, if you will, was the Green Bay Packers trading up to get Jordan Love and really put the timer on I was about to say Brett Favre because of something else I'll talk about a little later. Put the timer on Aaron Rodgers. Well, Green Bay has come out, and Green Bay says, no, that's not true. There's no timer on Aaron Rodgers. And I hope that's the case, but Aaron Rodgers was upset. And it doesn't really matter if there is a timer or there isn't a timer. If your star quarterback is upset, there's reason for concern. So there's a little bit of concern there. I'm sure they'll get it worked out. I'm sure that they will figure out the best thing that they can do to make him a happy camper. Then, last pick of the first round, I thought that I was going to get away with no running backs, which J.K. Dobbins is who I thought was going to be the first. No. DeAndre Swift was who I thought would be the first running back off the board. That didn't happen. Instead, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, the guy that I wanted in the second round, got picked by the Chiefs, and that is awesome for them because they are going to use him the exact same way we were going to use him, and that really stinks. He's a great player, and he is going to be perfect for that. So then the second round comes around, and I know we need a running back, Tampa Bay. The running backs were coming off the board, just bah, 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 and everybody that I wanted was gone by the time it got to us, and I couldn't have been more frustrated. So J.K. Dobbins was the only running back left at the time we were able to pick 13th in the second round, and I personally said, oh, man, I don't want J.K. Dobbins. He does not do what we need out of a running back, but I thought because we needed a running back and we wanted to please Tom Brady, I thought we were going to take J.K. Dobbins, but we didn't. We went with Antoine Winfield Jr. Perfect pick. I'm very happy about that. I'm so glad that we steered clear of the running backs because the next running back on our list was a third-round grade, and we knew that we didn't want J.K. Dobbins either. So we let it go. We let it go to a third-round pick, and we got Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt, 5'10", 214. Now, he doesn't do the catching really out of the backfield like we wanted them to do. But if we're going to pick between J.K. Dobbins and Keyshawn Vaughn, I want that guy. We've seen that guy, a guy that runs you hard, gets you 3 yards when it looks like he shouldn't get you anything. And then, of course, we have Ronald Jones second. So we can still play, and it's fine because we can send Ronald Jones out as a third down back, have Vaughn in as 1 and 2, or a pass blocker or something like that. And I think he will get to play. But then a little bit, the rest of the picks, we lost our 4th round, like I said, and trading up to get worse. So the other 4 picks, Tyler Johnson, Khalil Davis, Chappelle Russell, and Raymond Calais, they don't mean too much to me. I don't even know if Raymond Calais is going to make the team. Khalil Davis actually should be fine. I think he'll make the team. And then receiver, we need Tyler Johnson, but I don't know if he's going to fill that void to start at us or for us. So we'll see. But he'll be there. We need him in the depth chart, and I'm happy about that. So that's really good. The switching gears from my pro team to my college team. In the preview and in the round 1 thing, I didn't really talk too much about UCF because I didn't think that UCF was going to get very many people drafted. And my listeners from Orlando, they were a little upset about that because obviously, I mean, I went to UCF. I love UCF. We want to talk about UCF, but I have to be honest. I didn't think any of them were going to really get drafted except Gabe Davis. And it turns out that none of them got drafted except Gabe Davis. So while it's some justification from the sense of that's why I didn't talk to them, it's actually really upsetting because I wanted them to prove me wrong and get drafted. But Gabe Davis did get drafted. He got drafted by the Buffalo Bills, who of course have Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown. Is it John Brown? I think it's John Brown. So they're stacked from the first receiver. But when I looked at the updated depth charts that the teams put out right after the draft, Gabe Davis is there as the number 2 or 2nd wide receiver behind Cole Beasley. So that would be huge if he gets to play that much to where he has a package with a second set of wide receivers that gets to come out. And as by second set, I mean those 3 that I named are the first set, and then there's 3 others. So I don't know how they're gonna, if he's the 4th wide receiver, 5th wide receiver, 6th wide receiver, but he is on that second tier, so he should get to play. Whereas I didn't think he was going to get to play a ton right away. I thought he was really going to have to hope that there is a preseason so that he could get drafted. Or not drafted, get used and really prove that he should make the team. And then I thought he was going to kind of sit for a little while, maybe get a catch here and there. But it looks like he's actually going to get to play. Now, as for the other guys, I'm going to have to check my resources here. But the other guys didn't get drafted, the ones that I named from the preview pod. But they did get signed to teams. And so Nate Evans, our linebacker, got signed to the Jags, Neville Clark to the Vikings, and Adrian Killins to the Eagles. And that's awesome. that's really awesome. That's kind of what UCF is banking on. And I know all those guys are great. They've all been on radars. Nate Evans and Neville Clark should definitely make the team. Clark was hurt. I think it was an ankle that he didn't get to run the 40. A lot of people didn't get to run and do pro days and things like that because of this whole coronavirus, but that had him sliding. I'm not really sure why Nate Evans slid there and didn't get drafted, but I mean, it's just a tough thing to do. But the Jags love their UCF night, so he should be fine. The Vikings do as well. I know that they have UCF ties now with Mike Hughes, and I'm sure he vouched for Neville. So hopefully he gets to make the team as well. As far as Adrian Killins is concerned, I mentioned my concern in the preview pod. He's small, he's fast, but he's going to need to either return or do something great. But he was on the radars ever since he ran against Michigan and outran the entire Michigan team. So that's really exciting that those guys are getting their chance, and I hope that continues. And I hope they all make the team, and we just add more and more nights to the NFL. I talked to Seal about his Jags. He was happy. So he thinks that they filled the needs that they needed to fill, which is good for him. So even though it was kind of up in the air, he was pretty happy with those guys that they ended up getting, and they filled every need that was on the list. So he thinks they're going to move up from 6 and 10 that they were last year. I think they should. I think Tampa Bay will, of course, do better than 7-9. I'm really hoping they do, especially with Tom Brady and all those other guys. And then we'll just cover Eddie just because we love the man. But the Steelers, I'm not really sure they did all that great, but they didn't have a first-round pick because of the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. So when you factor that into this draft with the picks, it obviously comes out well because Minkah Fitzpatrick is amazing. So I don't think he's very upset about that at all when you look at the finished product of what they have on the field. But the guys that they grabbed were not all that impressive. Although Anthony McFarland Jr. got drafted by them, and I thought that was Booger's son. So I was like, oh my gosh, Booger's son, are they going to talk to him? And I'm sitting here wondering why they aren't talking to this guy. And it turns out they're not even related. So that kind of stinks. I was hoping for some Boogerisms while his son was getting drafted. But they didn't even talk to him about having the same name as him. So that was pretty disappointing. I was hoping that some fun video or something to make fun of would have come out of that. All right, well, let's pause for a second to talk about our sponsor. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're probably stuck at home because it is still the quarantine. We're still in the pandemic. Well, I want you to pay close attention. Today's sponsor, Manscaped, can help you out and make the most of your time together with your significant other. Manscaped promotes clean hygiene when it comes to shaving your balls. So it's time to quarantine, Manscaped, and chill. Whoa, that was weird. Chill. As I mentioned in the little intro thing, Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below the waist grooming and hygiene. They are dedicated to your balls. Guys, we all have them. It's a real thing. You know about it. Your significant other, if you're a mature adult consenting relationship, they know about it. And let me tell you, man, if you don't keep it clean down there, your partner knows, your significant other knows. I can't tell you enough how important it is to be clean down there. And you know, you're all men here. We all listen to sports. Women, if you listen to sports and you have a man, you know too. So just remember that Manscaped is forever changing the game with this new Perfect Package 3.0 Essentials Kit. It is the perfect tool for your family jewels. And I showed you a few of the little creams and lotions. We showed you a bag last time. Well, this time I want to show you that it comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. This thing is waterproof, cordless, and this comes in that Perfect Package 3.0. And the 3.0 also comes with these other things that I showed you last week, and it comes in that bag. But this thing I wanted to tell you about, it's a 3rd generation trimmer. It features a cutting edge ceramic blade. It prevents the accidents. You can get right down to it, get really, really small. This thing shaves you clean, man. Really clean if you don't use this guard. If you use the guard, still cuts you pretty clean, but obviously not as clean as with the guard. But it does come with this little pod here. So it's cordless. You get this pod, you charge this thing, and then bow, you just set it right in there. It charges. It's really awesome. It does its job. And millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped Advanced Skin Safe technology. Whew, that was hard to say. So if you subscribe now, you will get a new replacement blade for that lawnmower delivered to your door every 3 months. It's awesome to have that subscription service. You don't have to worry about this thing getting gunky and gross from cleaning up down there all the time and shaving all the time. So they'll send it to you every 3 months. It's awesome. You'll stay fresh and clean. But for a limited time, our subscribers get not 1, but 2, count them 2, free gifts. So you get that Shed travel bag that we showed you last week that was chilling on Sill's couch. It's awesome, man. It's leather. It's nice. But then you also get the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs. I'm not wearing them right now, but they are awesome. We talked about them last week. They are really nice. It is the perfect package for your perfect package. If there's any ladies listening, it's also the perfect gift to get those guys. They will be happy. So if you go on right now, get 20% off and free shipping with the code NOSCRUBS, all one word, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the code NOSCRUBS. All one word, NOSCRUBS, no scrubs. Most people are loading up on toilet paper. Still, I went to get more toilet paper, and there was still one brand, so people calm down. But what we're loading up on is Manscaped products. So help your relationship out during this quarantine. Your partner, your balls, and your body will thank you. All right, so I think that's really all I have to say about the draft right now. If I want to try to bring in Eddie, on the East Coast, it's pretty late. I want to try to bring in Eddie. I want to ask Steele more about what he thought, but I want to kind of let it ruminate. We'll get some more thoughts out of here. But I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit just to fill in the time. What I'm doing to stay up to date with sports, what you guys could be doing if you're just sitting here and missing sports. Now, if you're anything like me, I also like video games, and that has been perfect because I love sports video games. Now, I love playing them, and playing them is fun, but sometimes you get bored playing these games and you want to watch sports. Well, if you're a gamer, we'll start there. There's been all kinds of game things showing up on Twitch, showing up on FS1, showing up on ESPN. So it's kind of cool that ESPN is really getting into this business as well. So it all started with this Bleacher Report. Got to give them the shout out. This was not us doing this or anything random. This was Bleacher Report. They did what's called a GOAT sim. So they had every NFL team. They created the all-time team for those teams, and they did a tournament, one and done, to see who the best all-time team was. It was awesome to be able to watch football again. It was really cool, and it ended up with Brett Favre. See, it all ties back into when I messed up and called Roger Favre earlier. Brett Favre ended up beating Tom Brady in the championship game to bring the first GOAT battle trophy to Green Bay. I have a lot of Green Bay fans. I haven't asked them about it. I don't think they're video game fans, but something cool about that, man. Tampa Bay won their first game, and I was ecstatic because we were expected to lose. So it was really cool. And then a couple weeks later, there was an NBA 2K celebrity athlete tournament. So there were athletes that were considered good at NBA 2K20, and they played, and it was on ESPN. That's how big they were trying to make this thing. And it was pretty cool because the finals were my guys, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, going at it, all Phoenix final. Booker ended up winning the whole thing. So that's pretty cool. That was something to be able to watch basketball that you didn't know the outcome of, because we've all been, if you're anything like me, we've all been on ESPN app, finding these old classic games. ESPN Classic has a bunch, watching the 30 for 30s, watching these Gridiron Classics on NFL Network, and all these other things. We've all been watching that. I watched the 2013. I've watched so many. I watched the 2013 Red River rivalry today, which was Texas and Oklahoma. Case McCoy versus Blake Bell. Shout out to Blake Bell, playing tight end now in the NFL. He was a quarterback for Oklahoma at one point, and they were ranked, so it's not like he was terrible. So I watched that game. I've been watching a lot. And it's pretty cool. But to not know what's actually happening made the video game one a little different. I'm not going to say better, but a little different. There's also NASCAR. I know we don't talk about it on this podcast, but Seal's dad used to love watching NASCAR, so we watched a lot of NASCAR growing up. There's a virtual NASCAR thing, and I think the same guy keeps winning because he's probably better than all the other ones at video games. Well, he keeps winning and winning, but that's happening. They've just raced Talladega today, so that's pretty cool. There's all kinds of fun stuff, and the reason I'm wearing LAFC right now is because of what's going on right now. Every Sunday, it's now been going on 2 Sundays, and it's going 3 more, I believe. There's a celebrity, it's kind of like a pro-am tournament with soccer. So they get one pro from the team. So Adama Diamande for LAFC was our pro player, and then one professional esports player, Remy Martin, was our pro gamer player, and they play the other team. So we play the Galaxy. So Dio took on Chicharito, beat him. Remy Martin took on whoever their pro gamer is. We beat them, so we moved on. And it's this aggregate scoring system. So it's been pretty fun. It's just being able to see these things and seeing the celebrities interact with each other, the ex-players talk trash while they're trying to beat each other in a video game. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, the last thing that most of you guys are probably all doing, and that is watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. Episodes 3 and 4 just came out last night when you're listening to this. And it was really Dennis Rodman, Phil Jackson, what they had to do with each other. And it is just, if you're my age, I'm 30, to live through those 90s. And I was young, but I remember at least the 98 season that they're talking about, I remember pretty vividly. And to see those, the behind the scenes is just epic. And they just told us that Kobe Bryant did the same thing. So I want to talk to Seal about that. But hopefully in the future, Vanessa Bryant allows those to get out, since Kobe obviously can't consent to that anymore. But I want to see the same thing go on with Kobe. But then the last thing that I want to talk about is something real, something that's actually happening, at least at this point in time, something that is actually happening, and that is UFC 249. They, for whatever reason, that link didn't take me to it, but they're playing on May 9th. They're fighting on May 9th. It's Ferguson versus Gaethje, and they're back, man. It's exciting. It's real. They're going to be in Jacksonville, Florida, in the United States, but they're not going to have fans, obviously. And we know that Tony Ferguson was supposed to fight Khabib again. He's not going to. They're giving the lightweight interim belt to the winner of Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. But, I mean, hopefully Ferguson wins, and hopefully Khabib will fight him quickly before this thing just turns into just craziness. But there's also a bantamweight title bout with Henry Cejudo facing on Dominic Cruz. And I know nobody likes to watch bantamweight unless you're a true UFC fan, but these guys are really good fighters, so check it out. It will be worth it. Francis Ngannou, if you don't like the small guys, that's the guy to watch. Francis Ngannou is facing Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And this is going to be Ngannou versus Rozenstruik. Was supposed to be a headliner. Now it's just part of this massive UFC card that they're doing during Corona. The winner will get to face, I believe Stipe is still the heavyweight champ. The winner will get to do that. And that's really exciting, unless Rozenstruik wins non-convincingly. Maybe he won't get to, but probably the winner will get to face for the heavyweight title. So that's really exciting. And then Jeremy Stephens is facing Calvin Kattar, another featherweight bout that's pretty good. Jeremy Stephens is a pretty good guy, but this isn't doing anything crazy. And then Greg Hardy, the last guy on the card, the ex-NFL player, is fighting Yorgan De Castro. And Greg Hardy is just an enigma, man. He's exciting to watch. He's dumb, not a great fighter. Hasn't been, well, I won't say not a great fighter. Not an experienced fighter. Hasn't been around very long because obviously he played football. But he's getting better every time. And this card is huge. It's great. You got to watch it. It's probably going to be purchasable for like $900 or something, even though they should give it out for free since we're all dying to watch stuff. But check it out. It's going to be on 10 Eastern, 7 out here on the West Coast. And it's a huge card. You have to buy it. Or at least watch it. I know you can't. It's so frustrating. Normally we bring a lot of friends over to pay, and it kind of makes it cheaper for every person. That's not going to be the case now. So hopefully they figure out something to make it to where not every single person is paying $65 to watch this thing. But go check it out. It will be worth it. Sports are coming back. Adam Silver has said that the NBA teams can open their arenas, their practice arenas, and their training camp facilities and things like that if the state has allowed it. So we're getting back. They have stuff going. The powers that be, the higher ups, they're looking. States are opening. We're just hoping that the coronavirus doesn't continue spreading, that we get testing out here so that we can open back up all these sports, we can get back to normal, and this podcast will get even better. But in the meantime, stay inside, watch these old sports, watch video games, play video games if you're into it. And as always, be a stud, not a scrub.